So, welcome back to the bearing and distance class. Sorry, there was a mistake here. The cosine is supposed to that of angle B, not A. Sorry, that is one mistake. So, like I said, this gives us 7.94 kilometers. It gives us 7.94 kilometers. So there shouldn't be a problem. If you have your calculator, you can directly press plus 120. It will give you negative 0.5. But in case you don't have a calculator, you have a function table, then you can't find the angle 120 degree there. So what you do is 120 is located in the second quadrant. I talked about quadrants: the first, the second, the third, and the fourth quadrant. So um, then there's one point we need to know here. Every angle, the sine, the cosine, and the tan, that's what we call arcs. ACTS. Take note of this. This is the quadrant, first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, and fourth quadrant. So we can label it at ACTS in the clockwise direction. So the first quadrant is ACTS. So what does it mean? In the first quadrant, all the sines, the cosine, and what, and the tangent of all angles found in the first quadrant are positive. And the angles in the first quadrant, they are angles between 0 and 90. So all their sine, cosine, tan, they are always positive. Then in the second quadrant, only the angles you have in the second quadrant, they are angle between 90 and 180. So only cosines of are positive. So cosine of all the angles, so all are positive, cosine are positive, tans are positive, and then sine are positive. If you're not making mistakes, ACTS. So what we mean here is that if you take cosine of any angle between 90 and what do you call it, 180, then it is supposed to be positive. You understand? So, but you ask a question, if that is the case, then why was cos 120 given negative? So there is a mix up here. Let's verify. Okay, this appears to be the correct thing. All angles in the first quadrant are positive, that is, they are sine, cosine, and tan. Then in the second quadrant, every angle, cosine and tangent of angles in the second quadrant are negative except sine. Then in the third quadrant, tangents of angles in the third quadrant, meaning, this is 0, this is 90, this is 180, then this is 270. Understand? Then you can come back to 360 here. So every angle between 0 and 90, the sine, the cosine, the tangent are all positive. Then between 90 and 180, only the sines are positive. Then between 180 and 270, only the tangents are positive, which means the sine and the cosine will be negative. Then in the fourth quadrant, it is angle between 270 and 360. Only the cosine are positive. The sine and the tangents are negative. So this means sine 120, for instance, will give us a positive value. So you have to take note of that, so that when we had angle of 120 degree and we are trying to look for an equivalent between 0 and 90, then we know 120 degree is somewhere here. Then the total is a 60 to complement it, to make it 180, it remains 60. So that 60 we are going to pick instead of the 120. So that means the 60 will give you the same angle as the 120, but with what time we decide it in this the same thing or opposite. Then you now look at where the cosine falls. Since we are talking about cos, then cos is not is negative in the second quadrant. So cos is only positive in the first and the fourth quadrant, but it is negative here and here. That is to say that we can now say that cos of 120 is the same thing as cos of 60, but with a negative, because 120 is an angle that falls in the second quadrant, and in the second quadrant, only sign is positive. You understand? So that is how you go about it. Whenever you find an angle, greater than 90, and there is a need to find the cosine or the sine, then you try to do your subtraction and then take note of the sign, the position of that angle in the quadrant. So that is that. Sorry. Then there's a question here. A boat says, or before that, let's go from simple to hard. A village is 10 kilometers on a bearing of 50 degrees from a point O. A village is 10 kilometers on a bearing 050 degree, on a bearing of 50 degree. Usually bearing, we express them in 3 digits. So if it is 10, you can say 0, 10 degree. So we usually use 3 digits to express them. That's the convention. Then it's 10 kilometers on a bearing of 50 degree from a point O. From a point O. Then how far is the village north of O? How far is the village north of O? So how do we go about this? A village is 10 kilometers on a bearing of 50 degrees from a point O. Then how far is the village north of O? So let's try to locate the village. Like we said, there is always a reference point. So we are locating the village with reference to a point O. So you say, okay, let's assume this is our point O. This is our point O. So this is where our point O is. This is our reference for point O. So then a village is 10 kilometers on a bearing 50 degrees from a point O. So for turning 50 degree, you turn 50, of course. 50 is an angle between 0 and 90. It's an angle that falls here. So assuming this is our 50 degree, then draw the line. This is a straight line. You can use your ruler. You draw a line. So let's assume this line like this is 10 kilometers. So a village is 10 kilometers on a bearing of 50. When you turn 50 from O, so this is point O. When you turn 50, mind you, we are always moving from north, then clockwise. So turn 50, then move 10 kilometers. Then you have the village here. So let's say that village is V, some is here. Then how far is the village north of O? That's not the question. This village has been located here. Then how far is the village north of O? When you hear how far, when it is said how far, they are talking about the distance. The distance of the village north of O, not from O now. If it is from O, already stated to be 10 kilometer, but not of O. That is when dropping it vertically, when it's coming vertically downwards. So because the knot of O is from V, it means when coming vertically from V towards A. You understand? So if it is, let's say, um east south of O, or let's say east of O, then you'll be going this way. So, but it is north of O. Then the north of O is an extension. If you extend the north of O, then you should have this distance. So let's call it S that we're talking about. So we are going to extend the north of O and to join the point. So this is the distance that is being talked about. Sorry, it is not the east of O. If it is the east of O, then we will extend the east, then drop the line. So that will be the east of O. But north of O, you are going to draw the line to the north, extend the north, then the line, the distance between the point and then the north, the extension of the northern side. Take note, if it is the east, if it is said east of O, what do? You project the east, the eastern line, then the line connecting that eastern line and the position of the village. Then north of O, you extend the northern line of O, then the line connecting the two, that is the horizontal line. In this case, it's not just a line, it must be a horizontal line, so that the angle here is 90. So if it is east, you will drop a vertical line, then crossing the eastern line, the extension of the eastern line. So I hope this is understood. Which means this is our point O, this is our point V. Then we can call it any point. Let's call this point P, which is the point north of O. Because from this point now, the point is north of O. That's how far is the village north of O. So in this case, we have gotten a triangle. The kind of triangle we have gotten is the right angle triangle. Why? Because of we have two vertical lines, they call it a vertical line meeting a horizontal line. So the northern line is the vertical line. Then the line drawn perpendicular to it is also a horizontal line. So when you have a horizontal line and a vertical line meeting, then they inscribe an angle called 90 degree. So and once you have a 90 degree in a triangle, the triangle becomes a right angle triangle. So the label is P, V, and O. And you have, here is known to be 10 kilometer. You understand? Then here we are finding S kilometer. So an angle we know here. So this angle is already described. Then we have 50 degree. So how do we now find S? Very simple. So you should go back to the trigonometry of right angle triangle. So we can use either Pythagoras theorem or the SOHCAHTOA. So looking at the side we are looking for now, we cannot use Pythagoras theorem because we have one side and a side unknown. So if you have to use the Pythagoras theorem, the third side is no information on the third side, so it's not possible. So we're going to use, since we have an angle, then we're going to use the SOHCAHTOA. Then how do we know whether you have to use sine, cosine, or adjacent? Then you are looking at the side where we have values. So with respect to the given angle, this angle, this is its opposite. This is the opposite of this angle. Then the longest side, this is the hypotenuse, or the side opposite this right angle, which is also the longest side, then is the hypotenuse. So the other side is adjacent. So the information we have are on the opposite and hypotenuse. That means we're going to use sine. So we're going to say sine, because we already know that sine of theta is opposite over adjacent. So here then sine, our theta here, our angle is 50. Then the opposite of the angle is x. Then, hypotenuse. Then, and the hypotenuse is 10. opposite over hypotenuse. So if you do cross multiplication, s times 1 gives you s, 10 times sine 50, you have 10 sine 50 degree. So take your calculator, calculate sine 60, and multiply the value by 10. So that gives you in kilometer, express it, the answer in kilometer, that gives you the distance of the village north of O. I think that answers the question. So it's as simple as that. So um let's see if you can take one more question. So there is this question here. Let's see. Let's write it. I mean, we're going to answer the question. We're going to read an answer. So writing it will be bogus. So you're going to pay attention to the question. A boat sails around a quadrangular, quadrangular. A boat sails, SAILS, around a quadrangular curve, ABCD. A boat sails around a quadrangular line, not curve, line ABCD. They started from A to B in 4 kilometers due east of A. So the boat starts from A to B in 4 kilometers due east of A. So we have 4 points. It's if kind of 4 quadrangular. When you say quadrangular, that means you are going to have a kind of 4 shape. You understand? 4 angular shapes like that. You end up having like a quadrilateral because you have 4 points involved. So the boat starts its movement from A to B. Then in 4 kilometers, it moved 4 kilometers from A to B due east of A. The direction now, specify the direction. So if this is our A, then this is the north of A, the east of A. Understand? So the point the boat moves from A, 4 kilometers due east. It moved from A to B due east of A. So the east of A meaning it did not move in the direction of the north to B. The B is not here. Neither is the B here, but the B is due east. So it moves along the eastern side of A until it gets to B after traveling 4 kilometers. So it gets to B somewhere here. Then they went further to say C is 3 kilometers due south of B. Then C now, the third point, which is C, is 3 kilometers due south of B. Then you ask, okay, what is south of B? This is not, this is the south. So due south of B, you have C. And the south of B is there. So which means C is somewhere here. By the time you move 3 kilometers south of B, then you have your C somewhere here. And D is 4 kilometers south 50 west. South 50° west. You understand? That is the location of point D. D is 4 kilometers south 50 degrees south of southwest from C. So which means from C now, from C, D is taking its reference from C, and from C, you have to move 50 degrees. You understand? In between south and west, because the south, let's draw the cardinal at C. If you draw the cardinal at C, this is the south. Then southwest means southwest, meaning the line connecting C and D is somewhere here. So if it is 50 degrees, then it means you have to move from south towards west by 50 degrees. This is the south. Move from south towards the west by 50. So once you have this angle 50 degrees, extend it by 3 kilometers. That is what they specify. Okay, 4 kilometers. So move a 4 kilometers, then you have your D. You have your D. So this is the location of all the points. So we are able to locate point B with respect to A because B is due east of A. So mind you, this should be a horizontal line because it is along the eastern eastern it is along the eastern of A. So then you get to B. Then from B now you have C located along the south of B by 3 kilometers. Then from C you have D located with respect to C by turning 50 degrees from the south towards the west. You toss 50 degrees from the south towards the west. That is the essence of 60 south 50 degree west. So you turn it, then you now move 4 kilometers, you have D. So we have located all our points. The question now is, what is the distance what is the distance and bearing of A from D? So I'll write the question now. So I've drawn the locations. Now the question is, what is the distance and bearing of A from D? So let's try to understand the question. What is the distance and bearing of A from C? So the distance and bearing of A from D. So how do we locate A from D? B has been located with respect to A, C with respect to B, D with respect to C. So how do we now locate, A with respect to D? The distance and bearing of A from D. So how do we now locate D from A? So that one is simple. Just join because we've already located this area. So just join the A and just join A and D. Sorry, I'm trying to be perfect here. So just join them. If you join them, then the distance they're talking about is the length here. Let's call it S kilometer. That is the distance. Then what about the bearing? So the bearing of A from D. So how do you get that? This is D. Draw the cardinal. You understand? So the bearing of A from D would have been gotten by moving from the north of D until it gets here. So this is the bearing they're talking about. So let's call this bearing theta. You understand? So the bearing is theta. You understand? Because to locate this A, we would have turned from the north of D. Because we have turned from north of D until we get to this line to be able to locate A. So what you're going to find now is this angle theta. You understand? So now the question is, how do we find the angle? So then it will be simple. It will be simple. Only we have to look for a way of doing that. First of all, we need to find S. Okay, don't forget we are giving this to be what? It's 4 kilometers. We have 4 kilometers. So we are finding S. We are